The time that I really felt most moved was when I was returning the flag to Scott Stevenson in the warehouse out in Phoenixville, where they were before this facility was built. And to drive from my house out there, I had to go through Valley Forge. And the flag is framed in the back of my car, and I'm driving through, and I actually could kind of feel people saluting it, like all the soldiers who had encamped at Valley Forge were almost, their souls or their spirits were raising up and saluting it. It was really kind of moving, and I slowed down a little bit just to take it in a little bit more. So Scott Stevenson had called me up to look at a flag, and I had no idea what the flag was, but it ended up being George Washington's 13-star silk Commander-in-Chief standard. And it had been framed in the 1970s in a plexiglass box that had a lot of static electricity. So it was anytime you rubbed the face of the plexiglass, the flag moved. So it was, Scott knew that it needed to be reframed. So I did a report and a proposal. And then about a year later, we got approval for me to conserve it. You won't know it, but the original is very fragile. And it is not on display very often because people were so proud of it that they put it on display and exposed it to light for years. And it is now very thin. The silk is not what it used to be. I think that people have to appreciate that when you own something that's as significant as this, you are the custodians, you are the temporary custodians of it, and you need to protect it for future generations, because once it's gone, it's gone. So while I was conserving the flag, the original flag, I put a piece of mylar, which is just a polyester film, over top of the flag, and then I traced all the stars and the dimensions of it and indicated the warp and the weft of the silk. So that when we had no idea that we had this replica flag project in the wings a couple years later. But then when we went to make this replica, we used that template as the guide for making it as exact as possible. Replicas are good teaching tools, and part of conservation is teaching and explaining what you do so that other people can understand and appreciate it. One thing that we had to do with the replica is figure out what the original color was, because we know it had faded, but we don't know what the original blue was. So you look at other prints and portraits, paintings, images of people during the Revolution, and you try and make a best guess, because the flag did not give us that detail. We don't know what the original color was. So we needed to know the dimensions, the materials, and the techniques that were used to create the flag. During the conservation treatment, we did take a very small sample from inside of the silk, from the inside of the hoist, and we sent it to the Museum of Fine Arts up in Boston, and their scientific analysis lab came back with indigo as the dye element, the dye material. So we wanted to dye the silk, the hand-woven silk, with indigo. We wanted to use hand weaving, because of course they didn't have machines then to create the silk. And we wanted to stitch it by hand, just so that we knew the whole process from beginning to end of creating George Washington's flag.